we have looked into the sort of traffic which is expected to be there in India for next 10 years. We have also examined what kind of supply of port capacity is coming in, where the shortfalls are emerging, and where the investment is going. We have examined NMDP, which used to be Sagarmala earlier, and try to understand what are the issues which are facing NMDP and where the capacity should come. If you look at last 50 years, the sector has been developing, the growth rate has been quite high in the sector. Now, lately, last 5 years, actually the growth is accelerating, which is in consonance with the GDP growth rate or the economic growth rate which is there in the sector. Today we are at something like 575 million tons of cargo. To give you an example, I mean, China handles close to 2 billion tons of cargo. Europe is also around 1.5 billion tons. And so India's physical volume of cargo is quite significant. And by 2015, in our up-case scenario, we're talking of almost 1.3 billion. By 2020, we'll be handling close to what China handles today. So that shows that we have to add a significant amount of capacity. Many years, we need almost 200% of the existing capacity, both at federal ports as well as at the state ports. Now, that poses a great challenge. And why ports are important? You need to appreciate that ports is where our trade takes place, and trade is what on our economy is dependent, increasingly getting dependent, with so many FTAs being planned and the economy opening up. So ports are physical infrastructure which will facilitate trade and which will eventually facilitate economic development. It's necessary that we need to have the infrastructure in place to make our economic growth actually take place at the rate that we would like to have. Now, we have, India has two coastlines, east and west, and probably this is the first time we have divided the ports into three regions. One is eastern region, we have a western region, and we have a southern region. Each of these are distinct in themselves, and the eastern ports are primarily bulk ports, especially dry bulk, more so, which are used as a lot of steel plants out there. So there is the import of coal as well as the export of iron ore from these ports. There is a thermal coal coastal movement which takes place from eastern ports to southern ports, and most of the mines are around 300 to 400 kilometers from the ports. Linkages are to railway and road. In southern sector, the ports are fed primarily by the road, because you can see they can move to either coastline, either on the east side or on the western side, and there is a large capacity of container terminal which is also coming up in southern ports, but the distances are much smaller. On the western side, the port development has been the maximum in terms of capacity, physical capacity as well as the traffic. Primarily because western ports not only take care of the western region, which is Maharashtra and Gujarat and Madhya Pradesh, Rajasthan, but also the entire northern hinterland, which is very population heavy. Unlike China, where the industrialization was coast-based, India's industrialization is much more uniform, and there is a large industrial production which takes place in the northern hinterland, consisting of NCR, UP, Punjab, and the cargo moves from up north to the western ports. Traditionally, before independence, what I understand, the linkages between the northern hinterland and the eastern ports, especially Calcutta, was fairly strong. But over the years, the linkages have become stronger on the western side. In fact, the bank has been also raising this issue. Going forward, if not immediately, maybe 15-20 years time frame, will there be a possibility that we can witness a large scale shift towards the eastern ports, because most of the manufacturing hubs are on the east side, and so Asia, Far East is the manufacturing hub, and with India opening up its trade with trade agreements with the Asia country as well as with Far East countries, probably the trade between India and Asia, which is actually growing faster than what India's trade is with Europe and Middle East, it's possible that some of this northern hinterland, both from import as well as export angle, may start using eastern ports. But as of now, the connectivity is extremely poor and the level of industrialization within eastern ports is not very high. In containers, hardly 7 to 8% of the traffic is generated from the eastern sector compared to 25% here and almost 67 to 68% on the northwest side. We have further broken these regions into clusters. We have put 9 clusters. There are 3 on the western side, 3 on the southern side, and 3 on the eastern side. Each of these clusters have a number of ports. There are major ports and there are minor ports. These minor ports are not really minor. Actually, some of these ports are as big or probably bigger than the major ports. These minor ports, the name has come from more from a regulatory angle, and increasingly it is felt that they are going to handle sizable cargo. In fact, last year, one of the biggest port of India was basically a minor port, which is Sikka. This year, again, Visakhapatnam has taken over. So there are 12 major ports, and there are close to, I think, 24 state ports which are into various levels of development. Now, it's possible that some new ports may also come, and some of them may also become fairly big. So we need to devise a policy framework, financing issue. In fact, yesterday we made a presentation to the mission, and there these issues were discussed that many of these state ports or minor ports are actually captive ports for a large industrial unit, and then they are developing the rest of the port on the strength of the captive cargo. So in terms of policy, there has to be some commonality between the development of major ports and state ports. Major ports federal ports are governed at the central level. The total coastline of India is around 7,500 kilometers, while if you look at the coastline covered by major ports, it should be close to 75 to 100 kilometers. So what we are talking is 1% of the total coastline covered by major ports and 99 with the state ports. Of course, there are issues because state ports are highly undeveloped. Many of the places it's the light bridge which the cargo is handled through light bridge. But increasingly capacities are being added because industrial capacity is really building up fast, both in terms of thermal power plants, petroleum refineries, we talk of copper smelters, the whole cement plants, LNG terminals. A lot of them are coming under the state ports. So under these 9 clusters, we have divided the country's ports. Gujarat itself is actually a major cluster. You can divide Gujarat into 3 further clusters because on Kutch there are number of ports. Then we have on the Saurashtra side there are ports, and within the South Gujarat there are number of ports. So Gujarat is a very big cluster, the biggest amongst all the clusters. Yeah. Now, if you look at the total global trade, container trade has been growing by almost 11.5%, while the total global trade is more than 6 billion tons. Compared to that, India is roughly around 275 million tons if you look at 50% of the import-export. So because this is counted one way, not both export and import put together. So India represents close to almost 4% of the global trade in terms of volume, which is very significant because in terms of value, our trade is not more than 1%. It's less than around 0.8%. So in physical volume, we have 4%, which is a fairly big number from a global perspective. And this number is going to become big as we go forward. And yeah. Our total methodology for doing this study was we went through a lot of existing reports. We did a macroeconomic analysis. We did a cargo and hinterland analysis. We looked at the marine side and the logistics analysis, marine logistics analysis, whether the